Hi everyone, welcome to ID Creatures. Today I'm going to be drawing a men's deodorant or body wash bottle. So I'm just going to start out here by ghosting in the outline. If you're just starting out, I would recommend that you draw the rectangular box to place this in, but since I'm a little bit more experienced, I tend not to draw the box anymore and just estimate the perspective as I go. So the video is a little light here, but you can see me drawing in the very light lines with my ballpoint pen, which is really good just exactly for that purpose, drawing in some really light lines and also heavier lines as you go along. And I'm going to draw in a little um, trapezoid type shape here with a cutout in it for a hand grip type thing. So just working on the cap right now, which sticks out a bit so you can flick it up. And just drawing in some contours as I go. And here I'm adding a little bit of a hinge detail to show that the cap will flip off that way. It's little details like this that make your product more realistic. Now you can see that as I'm going along, I'm going from light lines to slightly more defined lines. Here I'm just adding some bumps for grip maybe. Another cutout just to make it look kind of cool. These bottles always confuse me with how complex they look with all these extra details that serve no function. But this isn't really about the design, it's more about the sketching technique. So you can see the outline starting to emerge and the lighter lines disappearing into the background. And just defining this cutout a bit more. You can also see that I'm rotating the paper a lot. I like to do that when I sketch because it helps me throw the lines better. If I'm always drawing with a straight oriented page, my lines tend to curve and slant. So if I keep rotating the page, it helps me get those angles and curves and lines more accurately. So always move the page to suit your hand. Don't try and maneuver around the page. Just defining the parting lines a bit more, it's important to show where one part separates from another part with a bit of a darker line. You can see that the ballpoint pen really is really nice for varying your line weights. You can really get some really nice light lines and go over them and get some heavier, more defined lines. And best of all, ballpoint pens are really, really cheap. You can get them for like $2 for a 12 pack. Adding more contour lines and little details, defining the edge again. That's looking pretty good. The form is kind of all set. Now I'm estimating a bit of a shadow. Shading in some undercuts. A little bit more shading. Just adding the finishing details like little reflective spots, just estimated. And some more shading back there in the background. Now everything is pretty much set, and just touching up the lines, putting some heavier ones in the foreground to bring it forward a bit more, give it more of a 3D feel. I think I might have added a little too many reflections in this object, but we'll run with it. Shading in that shadow with some hatching. It's important that you practice your hatching so that you don't hatch outside the lines too much, otherwise you'll get a giant hairy mess. And also it's important to keep your lines straight. You can tell that in the middle there I kind of rotated a little bit and it looks a little weird, so I had to correct it. See that middle part? It's a little strange right there. But it's just a rough sketch. We'll keep going with it. Now adding a bit of a square background to set the object against. This isn't always necessary, but here the drawing looks a little blank, so I'm gonna add it in. Doesn't have to be perfect, just a rough sketch. And signature. And there's the line work. Ready to add some color.